Nora's life is a nightmare. She witnessed her father's infidelity to her dying mother, Yvette, who remains in a coma. Her home is ruled by her cruel stepmother and stepsister. Singing offers escape, but her talent show dreams are crushed. A brief romance with Anthony turns into a forced engagement orchestrated by his manipulative grandfather. Imprisoned by her father and stepmother, Nora faces utter despair. Then, a knock at the door. Anthony is there. But why? What awaits Nora on the other side of that door? Has he come to rescue her? Or is he another player in the game that's been rigged against Nora from the start? What will happen when the door opens?
Anthony stepped forward, his voice steady despite the storm raging within him. "I love Nora," he declared, standing tall in front of her father, stepmother, and stepsister. "And I intend to marry her." A stunned silence fell over the room. Henry's eyes narrowed, Wendy's lips curled in disbelief, and Angela scoffed, crossing her arms. But Anthony didn't waver. He knew this was the only way to keep Nora safe. His grandfather had made it clear. If he agreed to the marriage, Nora would be protected. It was a choice Anthony hated, but one he was willing to make for her sake. Nora, still reeling from the betrayal of being imprisoned in her own home, looked at Anthony with a mix of gratitude and uncertainty. She had dreamed of escape, but not like this. Not as part of another manipulative arrangement. Yet, in Anthony's eyes, she saw something different. Resolve, desperation, and a silent plea for her to trust him. Henry let out a bitter laugh. "So you're really going through with this nonsense? Marrying her?" "Yes," Anthony affirmed. "And you will treat her with respect from now on," Wendy sneered. "And if we don't?" "What, you'll throw your grandfather's money at us?" But there was fear in her voice. She knew the power Anthony's family held, and she knew they couldn't afford to challenge it. Henry exhaled sharply. "Fine. But she stays here until the wedding." Anthony clenched his fists but nodded. It wasn't ideal, but at least now they wouldn't dare harm her outright. Days passed, and though Nora was no longer locked away, she still felt like a prisoner. The house was suffocating, filled with resentment and hostility. Wendy and Angela found new ways to torment her, whispering cruel things just out of Anthony's earshot, ensuring she felt unwelcome. Henry barely acknowledged her. The weight of it all bore down on her, each day feeling heavier than the last. She tried to hold on to the hope that things would change, that Anthony would find a way to truly free her. But the constant stress, the malnourishment from skipped meals, and the emotional toll of her existence in that house began to wear her down. Then one evening as she descended the stairs, a wave of dizziness crashed over her. Her vision blurred, her knees buckled, and before she could call for help, darkness engulfed her. Nora fell and passed out. A few hours later, Nora woke up and to her surprise was on a hospital bed. As she looked around, the doctor approached her. "Miss Smith, you're pregnant." The doctor's words were like a thunderclap in Nora Smith's ears. Her sleepy eyes widened suddenly. "What? How could this be?" Nora was 19 years old and engaged to be married, but she had never been intimate with a man. But the doctor handed her the medical report so she could see for herself. "You're already well along in your pregnancy. You're not in good health, so I'm afraid an abortion would be too risky for you. Your only option at this point is to give birth to the child." Nora returned home in a daze. After her father gave her a stern lecture, he searched the surveillance cameras for evidence. But all he found was that 4 months ago, Nora had indeed stayed home for a couple of weeks because she hadn't been feeling well. She hadn't gone out at all. Outsiders didn't believe it. Everyone secretly mocked her. Her belly is already so big, but she's still giving excuses and saying that she didn't go off and see some man. Poor Anthony Gray, being engaged to a woman like that. I feel bad for him and his family. She's already fat and ugly, and her family background is nothing to brag about. She was lucky she even had this opportunity to crawl up the social ladder with a marriage into the Gray family. Now that she's gotten herself pregnant before the wedding, the Grays will break off the engagement, right? After weeks of all the speculation flying around, Anthony Gray finally paid the Smiths a visit. He sat down with Nora and her father in the study. By that time, Nora's belly was already bulging. 8 months into her pregnancy, her belly was so big she couldn't see her toes when she looked down. Nora's father asked cautiously, "Anthony, are you thinking of breaking off the engagement?" But Anthony's answer surprised him. No, my grandfather won't allow it. The Greys were rich and powerful, with a social standing far above anything the Smiths could dream of. No one would blame them for taking this opportunity to break things off. There didn't seem to be any way they could benefit from going ahead with the engagement. The more Anthony thought about it, the angrier he became. He cursed furiously. I already can't stand the sight of her pig-like face. Now she's pregnant with some other man's child. Why should I have to take responsibility for her screw-up? I'm not interested in being a hero. Immediately, Nora's father said, "Anthony, don't worry. I'll send the baby away as soon as she gives birth." Nora, who had kept quiet this whole time, suddenly raised her head. No. In the past few weeks, she had gone from shock to bewilderment, and then gradually settled into a state of acceptance. She could feel her child's heartbeat more and more clearly as each day passed, and she had grown to love the sound. The child was innocent. She had decided she couldn't abandon it. She wanted to cancel the engagement too. At that exact moment, Nora suddenly felt waves of pain and convulsions in her abdomen. This is it, she thought with alarm. I'm going into labor. As Nora fell on the ground, the room fell silent, the air thick with unspoken words. Nora's father's face was a mask of panic, while Anthony's expression was unreadable, a storm of conflicting emotions swirling in his eyes. He looked from Nora to her father, then back again, his jaw tight. The unspoken question hung heavy in the air. Would he uphold the engagement, bound by his grandfather's decree, or would he finally break free, releasing Nora from this torturous charade? And what of the child conceived under such mysterious circumstances, whose blood ran through its veins? As Nora's cries echoed through the house, a new chapter began, one shrouded in uncertainty and fraught with dangerous possibilities. What future awaited Nora and her child? And would the truth of the baby's parentage ever be revealed?
Hi, Nora here. If you are wondering what happens next, then download the Pocket FM app and listen to the exciting episodes of Saving Nora Now with the link in the description.
Pocket FM. To unlock all the episodes, click the link in bio.